as a football fan, fascinating to see what happens when Kyler Murray and Tua Tagovailoa cross paths for the first time at the NFL level. Unfortunately, we'll only see it once every 4 years. They're in different conferences, but we're going to see it, Peter. Tua and the Dolphins going to Arizona to take on Kyler Murray. Here is a little Tua talking about Kyler and a little Kyler talking about Tua. Listen up.
I'm very excited to go up against him. I would say first impressions when I met him, I mean, he's pretty jacked up, for as, short as he is, he's this guy's rocked up. But he's very competitive. He's very personable too. I got to meet his parents as well at the Heisman ceremony. Very good family. But going against guys like that who are very competitive and you're going to get their best, I think that's going to be a fun one.
Doing the whole Heisman, the college football awards, he was hurt at the time, but his family, they're one of a kind. Really, really nice people, great people. Showed nothing but love throughout that whole day, the whole week. Nice to me, nice to my family. Obviously the love was reciprocated, but now Tua's, the times that I've been around him, nothing, I can't say anything bad about Tua. Great dude, down to earth, great player.
I love both of those guys as human beings, and I really love Kyler Murray as a quarterback. With Tua at the NFL level, we just don't know yet. What was your impression based upon the limited slice that we got of Tua Tagovailoa last week against the Rams?
It's almost like Chan Gailey threw a protective cloak over him, really, the offensive coordinator of the Dolphins. He didn't have a chance to do a whole lot. I think, if on your report card after a game like that, you get an I for incomplete.
Exactly.
I don't know what to. I don't have.
I said the same
any idea
thing.
what to think of Tua.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea. But I will just say this, Mike, and I don't mean to go too far afield. Okay. I have been saying that I really wish that the NFL would change the way they schedule non-division games. Okay, so you have obviously. And I know this is a distraction, but I've got to say it. So you've got your 6 division games every year. That leaves 10 other games. I believe that 2 of those games every year should be kept as what I would call wild card games. And what I mean is that every year in the offseason, I think that Howard Katz and his scheduling team, the NFL football operations team, should get together and should say, you know what? We want a Tua versus Kyler game this year. I would almost want to see that game almost every year. But if Tom Brady and Drew Brees were in opposite conferences this year, I would have said this could be the last year for Brees and for Brady, who knows. I want to see them play against each other one more time because it's almost unfair that these guys never play against each other. It's unfair for the football fan. And I know that people are going to be crying about, then you're going to have a bunch of Detroit-Cleveland games. Well, okay, some way you're going to have to pay the price to get great games every week in cross-conference scheduling. But that's just one thing I wanted to say. I'm curious. What do you think of that?
Well, look, and this is one fact about the NFL that has been ignored because the pandemic arrived and turned everyone's life upside down. Next year, there's 17 games. So they got to figure out where they're going to get that 17th game. They've got a perfect formula now. It's a little complicated, but it's not all that complicated once you figure it out. And it's the same every year, and it gets every team playing, in theory, in every stadium over an 8-year period. It gets every fan that's got season tickets in a position to see every team on an 8-year cycle. But you've got that extra game now, and what are you going to do with it? And I have an idea for it that I forget what it is. I'd have to look it up. But one thing you could do is just make it a year-by-year. We're going to be mad scientists here, and we're going to create these matchups that we think are going to be compelling for football fans. And let's put Tua and Kyler together this year with this extra game.
Have them play each other next year. If it's only one game, I would take it. I'd rather have it be 2, but if it's only one game, I would take it. My only point is, Mike, it is unfair, in my opinion, in the grand scheme of things, honestly, to have, basically to have Russell Wilson playing Patrick Mahomes once every 4 years. It's ridiculous, quite honestly. They might play each other only 2 or 3 times ever. I don't want to say it's heartbreaking, but I think it's awful that you don't take advantage of your mega stars. I mean, what would the rating be this year on a Sunday night game with Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, with their two teams playing well? It'd be utterly fantastic. Those guys should play, if not every year, every other year.
Well, and Peter, to take your point one step farther before we get back to the game, the fact that the NFL currently is negotiating with all the networks on the next round of multi-billion-dollar annual contracts, that's something the NFL could bring to the table to sweeten the pot. We're not just going to have a formula that determines this 17th game. Every year, we are going to come up with that slate of extra games that otherwise would not be spat out by our annual, this is how it is, this is how it is, this is how it is. We're going to find those extra games. They're going to be interconference games, and we're going to give you matchups, 16 matchups that, a few of them are going to be, but there's going to be
17 matchups.
Well, one extra week of games, 16 extra games. So one extra week of games is 16 extra games. So we're going to give you those matchups, cross-conference, and you're going to be thrilled with half of them. Maybe with 10 or 12 of them. There's going to be some clunkers. That's fine. But there's going to be some great games that are over and above what you otherwise would get on the schedule. All right, so we do get Tua and Kyler this week. And if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm just a little nervous. I'm a little uneasy because we saw Joe Burrow instantly. He was clearly good enough. Instantly, Justin Herbert, with literally 1 minute advance notice because Tyrod Taylor got the needle in the lung. Clearly, he's got it. With Tua, I'm on the edge of my seat every possession against the Cardinals. I want to see that spark, Peter. I want to see that flash. I want to see that thing that tells me he's good enough.
Last week, Mike, I watched a lot of that Tua game. And if I'm just watching that game, that's about the fourth piece of conversation out of that game. You know what the number one absolute headline in that game? Miami's defense is damn good. Okay? They're playing a team with a good offensive line, not the best offensive line in football. They swarmed Jared Goff the entire day. They really got after him. They were tough. They were physical. And I look at that game, Mike, and I just say, okay, now Kyler Murray is a different challenge than Jared Goff. He's a different challenge from almost every other quarterback. But in my opinion, you are going to see a swarming defense, and Kyler Murray is going to have to be very elusive in this game, or else he's going to get the crap beat out of him, in my opinion, after watching that game last weekend.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the Dolphins are doing well right now. The Cardinals are doing well. Both teams in position to make a run at the postseason.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.